Well, hi YouTubers, okay, I'm back with a 365 100 books, and it is Pratchett's The Truth, the 25th Discworld novel. Oh man, I loved rereading this book. I read this many years ago when it came out, and went back to read it again, and absolutely loved it. I love the Discworld novels, all 41 of them. Now I'm going to put a link in this to a blog post I did a few months ago about my love of the Discworld novels, but it was so nice going back to this. This is like Pratchett in his prime, the 25th Discworld novel. Imagine if you made it to 50 books, what that would have been. Just, anyway, we're not going to go there. Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the book, okay? Now, Discworld, if you don't know, is Discworld on the back of 4 elephants, on the back of a giant turtle called the Great Atuin, and yeah, just read it, you unusual. Here we go. William de Word is the accidental editor of Discworld's first newspaper. His name must cope with the traditional perils of a journalistic life. People who want him dead, a recovering vampire with a suicidal fascination for flash photography, some more people who want him dead in a different way, and most of all, a man who keeps begging him to publish pictures of his humorously shaped potatoes. William just wants to get at the truth. Unfortunately, everyone wants to get at William, and it's only the 3rd edition. Now, this is fans of the Discworld novel, so there's not much build up into this. I mean, everyone knows of Morpork and the city of Quim, and the Quim Ladies College, and the Lanka Witches. So this is not like really good on the introduction. It just throws you straight in there. And I absolutely loved it, because this is just Harry taking the Discworld into a new direction. Until this moment, the Discworld's been like very much like a quasi-medieval society. However, it's moving forward into modernity. This is the invention of the printing press, which, if you can argue that Raisin Steam, the last Discworld novel, is the introduction of the Industrial Revolution, okay, with the arrival of the steam train. So, talk about it. So William de Word, who was born into the class system and enjoyed everything it afforded, he's been almost a black sheep of his family, and starts off writing like this little newsletter for people outside the city, people who live outside the city. And then, of course, Veterinary, the patrician of the city of Morpork, pretty much using his beautiful words, makes him the editor of Discworld's first newspaper. And this is obviously written for experience, because Pratchett himself was also a journalist for several years. So a lot of this you can actually tell was based on Pratchett's own experience. But bringing all these colourful cast of characters, however, let's put it down a second, William de Word at this point is an outsider. Everyone in the Discworld novels, and they've been there for a while. You've got the Lanka Witches, you've got Carrot, you've got Nobby, you've got the Wizards. This is a new person looking at the Discworld and the pieces of Morpork from the other side. So even though we know Carrot and Vimes and Angua, seeing them from another person's point of view is fascinating. And this I just loved, okay? This is page 107. This is when Vimes comes in and the book gets brighter when he does, because everyone knows Vimes is the best character. So, read the book. Mr. Vimes, thought William, as they hurried after the constable. All the watchmen called him that. The man had been a knight, and now was duke and a commander, but they still called him Mr. There was Mr. too. The first 2 syllables, not the everyday, unheeded Mr. It was the Mr. you used when you wanted to say things like, "Put down that crossbow and turn around real slow, mister." He wondered why. Exactly. And it is absolutely hysterical that he thinks that Nobby Knobs is the werewolf in The Watch, when it's actually Angua. And Nobby... Okay, I'm not... here we go. In the last Discworld novels, which was brought in the Goblins, it was suggested quite highly that Nobby Knobs was a goblin-human hybrid, because even though humans find him repulsive, in the goblin world, he's like practically an Adonis. So it was funny given the suggestion that Nobby Knobs was of goblin-human heritage. So that's just my opinion, but that's after reading, oh god, not Snuff, was it Snuff? After reading the last few books, it kind of got to that. So The villains in this are Pin and Mr. Tulip, who reminded me a lot of Croup and Vandermeer in Neverwhere. Okay, it would be by Neil Gaiman. However, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett did collaborate on several books, including Good Omens, and I do recommend it. So they reminded me of Croup and Vandermeer in Neverwhere. Okay, and there's this thing. All right, this is an introduction. The other voice says, "Shall hitch me on alongside the ing head with the ing or again, Mr. Pym." Good idea, Mr. Tulip. There was a dull thump in the darkness. Ow. And then we'll fuss then, otherwise Mr. Tulip will lose his temper. Too ing right. There was a sound like an industrial pump. Hey, go easy on her stuff, why don't you? Ah, ing killed me yet, Mr. Pin. Now the ing, as memory recalls, that is a reference to Mort, because that joke was also in Mort as well, which is the early Discworld novel. It's actually the fourth Discworld novel. However, this makes it a bit more fun when you do read it. Okay, every time it says ing, throw in a more interesting word, okay, like smashing or revolting or carping, just anything words that ends with in, okay, or carpeting. Any word that ends with ing. When you read it, just throw in a word ending in because it's just funnier. That's what I did anyway. Okay. So, this book, that's the thing that's hard to, because basically, Veterinary the Petition is kind of knocked out. He's in a coma. His dog's gone missing. They're looking for the dog. And this is a hard book to really kind of go into because it's not the story of the actual main story. It's his other people coming into it. Obviously, this is a new character in a Discworld novel, so you haven't got to just establish him, you've got to establish the world around him and his particular world. Now, William de Wilde being a journalist, he's a natural outsider, so from his point of view, it's done really, really effectively. However, there's this bit here, okay, alright, where Otto, the vampire, okay, who is a nice metaphor for addiction as well, because he's a black rib now, which means he's abstaining from human blood. But he's having a moment, okay? He's having an absolute meltdown, so they're pretty much having an intervention, right? So, this bit here was just heartwarming. And it's just a nice little kind of lampshade moment, okay, of how vampires are treated in general fiction, but also in the Discworld, okay? So, this is when his photograph's been smashed, okay, and he's having a meltdown. I have others, Otto sighed. You know, I thought it would be easy in the big city. He said, I thought it would be civilized. They hoping the mobs don't come after you. This fishpox in the big city is doing back in Shizrand. I mean, I try. God knows I try. 3 months, 4 days, and 7 hours of the wagon. I gave up the whole thing. Even the pale ladies with the velvet basques worn on the outside, and the fetching black lace dresses, and those little tiny, high-heeled boots. And that was a wrench, I don't mind telling you. He shook his head miserably and stared at his ruined suit. My stuff gets broken, and now my best suit is covered with his blood. Covered with his red blood. Red dark blood, the blood, covered with the blood. Quick, said Saccharissa, pushing past William. Mr. Goodmountain, you hold his arms. To wait at the dwarves. I was ready for this. 2 of you hold his legs. Doozy, there's a huge bloodworth in the dress drawer. Let me walk in the sunshine, living not in vain, Otto crooned. Okay, that is a really, really heartwarming moment. And obviously, you read it as a vampire, but obviously, okay, this shows more development to vampires. This shows how vampires, since their first appearance in the disc, has moved on as characters. The same way, okay, that I did point out that it also goes into dwarf society and also their development too, because there's this big thing about dwarfs. Only in it for the money. All they care about is money. However, to a dwarf, when they become of age, they actually pay their parents, give their parents gold, to kind of like a dowry to themselves, a tribute to themselves. William, kind of being around them, kind of also takes on that kind of idea and kind of pushes it in his direction too, regarding his relationship with his father. Now, a lot of it is contrived and coincidental because it's a friggin' Discworld and this is what happens. However, just as seeing these characters from the other point of view, it's also breathing new life into the disc, because when Tay Pratchett, I'll be truly honest, Ain't More Pork, okay, is fantastic, and Ain't More Pork was in the first Discworld novel, The Colour of Magic, and they're like fantastic. They're pretty much 2 books, like, one story in itself. Then Guards came about, and you have Captain Carrot coming in. Now, Captain Carrot was raised as a dwarf, and is the true heir of the the Eight-More-Pork crown. Okay, everyone knows that. But he goes to Eight-More-Pork, joins the Watch, and meets Sam Vimes. Now, Sam Vimes took on a life of his own in the Discworld novels. Honestly, Prince Valiant versus Sir Samuel Vimes. Carrot stood no chance, by the way. Vimes just took over. When you write an Eight-More-Pork, so when you read an Eight-More-Pork novel set in Eight-More-Pork, you expect Vimes to be there, or the Watch to be there, okay? Because Vimes and the Watch became such an integral part of Eight-More-Pork that they had to be there. Even in the last Discworld novel, Raisin didn't actually have their little cameos, okay? In Masquerade, okay, which is a witch novel set in Eight-More-Pork, based on the Phantom of the Opera, the Watch appear because they have to. Okay, so this was Terry Pratchett's way of introducing another strong Eight-More-Pork character into the city for now, conceived from his point of view. However, once again, Watch have to be there. He tried it the same way with Moist von Lipwig in the last Discworld novels. And one thing I also liked is, one thing I loved about Terry Pratchett and the Discworld novels, it shows the evolution of characters over time. You may dip in and out of them over the years. This book is the first to introduce Sir Harry King, okay, who basically is the king of the trash of the city, okay? However, you get to see his kind of like idealism beneath the kind of like facade of I'm a tough businessman and I am providing paper to the Eight-More-Pork Times rival newspaper, which is basically a goddamn local rag. It's basically the Times versus the Sun newspaper, okay? I don't read the Sun because it's a horrible red top and I've got good reasons, but anyway. At the same time, this is the first time you actually meet him. You get the sense of his nobility under the facade. And then, when it comes to Raisin Steam, he has a bigger part in that. He's thinking of his legacy, his future. So basically, it's fantastic. And Harry King in this, the Harry King in Raisin Steam, is basically still the same person, but matured and moved on. And he's thinking about his legacy to the city. And hence Raisin Steam. So, I did enjoy this book. I absolutely loved it, and reading it just reminded me of what I loved about the Discworld novels first time round. Yeah, so anyway, talking way too much about the Discworld novels now, so I'm signing off here. So if you haven't read it, read it. Start. The thing is with me, I picked up the Discworld novels in the wrong order. My first one was Witches Aboard, and I had no idea what was going on. So I never read the first batch in order, if you will. But if you really want the best one to restart with, more and enjoy. So sign off here, YouTubers. And bye now.